It's Thursday, 11th June 2026, and welcome to Newsnight today at 8 p.m. East African Standard Time. With me, Winnie Mutes Mpera. To start with, today students heading for their internship in Genofield have started a 3-day orientation meant to give them skills and tangible practical while executing their career.
Uganda Youth Development Link has embarked on training through orientation the university youth who are going to carry out their practice work in the society. Before the orientation kicks off, some of the students cited out their expectations, some showing interest on how to handle single mothers.
Learning and being integrated into the organization system. I'm expecting to engage with the teenage mothers. I've grown up in a society seeing more of them, and education has enlightened me enough that there are more causes of teenage pregnancy than just involving in sexual relations. There are structural causes, cultural causes, and from this background with UDEL, we're going to be able to help them, work with them, and
the internship has so far been very good, educating us about the children that we're supposed to going to work with and the things we're expected to do in the field. The expectations, I expect to learn more about drug and substance abuse, and then also how to help people recover from that treatment.
Tusuubira okufuna mu musomo muno nga pulogulaamu ezitambula engeri gye tugenda okuyambamu abantu ab'enjawulo nga ba pregnant mothers, ba teenage pregnant mothers, abo abaana abatanneetuuka abafunye embuto nga tebalina buyambi nga beetaaga okuyambibwa.
Speaking during the 3 days orientation exercise, the Deputy Director of Uganda Youth Development Link, Anne Nawulia, says it is crucial to involve university interns into orientation so that they know what they will face once outside.
Bakola internship ne UDEL. Netutegeka omusomo guno kwekuba mu torch from UDEL staff. Naye n'okuyamba bano abazze otwegatako ba students okutegeera ki UDEL kweyimiridde, naye n'okumanya engeri ki gye bayinza okujjamu okukwatamu abaana UDEL bekwasaganya nabo. So omusomo omulamu gwa leero gwa basically kwongera kwetunuulira nga UDEL biki ebirungi ebituleese n'ebitubeezaawo emyaka 33 gye tubaddewo.
Nawulia adds that the session will focus on nature of Uganda Youth Development Link's work, the clients served, and the challenges faced by the disadvantages youth in and out of school, including crime, drug, alcohol abuse, child trafficking, child labor, sexual exploitation, and early motherhood.
Kiba kikolebwa mu ngeri ewa omwana egamba rights ze n'okuba nti nayewulira nti ali respected nti era ayagalibwa nti era ne programu zaffe zikolebwa mu ngeri emeetinga those rights z'omwana n'ez'omuvubuka. So tuzze kwongera kwewa magezi on how to do our work better, to do the programming and the thinking of our staff mindset ekyuka nebanga esobola okuyamba omwana okukyuka okubeera okuva mu mbeera eri emuleetera okutulugunyizibwa oba okamuvumirira eddembe lye n'adda mu mbeera ey'okweyagala n'okubanga egamba abeera omwana adda mu nteekoteeko n'aba ne hope oba n'aba n'okuluubirirwa okupya okujja omuyamba okutuuka ku ddaala eddala.
Moses Kinobe, a teacher, says during orientation they will reflect on strategic focus of prevention, protection, rehabilitation, and reintegration of the youth who were affected by drug abuse.
This is towards building our capacity on how we can do our work better, on how we can support the vulnerable child to a better recovery and life. It's giving us the skills on how we can provide the psychosocial support, on how we can work closely with other stakeholders, the parents, the communities, to see that there is a society whereby our children are free from exploitation.
Former students like Nambogo Daisy, who has gone through Uganda Development Links, caution the students not to underestimate where they came from.
Erinnya lyange nze Nambogo Daisy nga nkola nga M&E mu UDEL. Organizations ezisinga wesanga nti zaagala abakozi abalina competence emala. Abeera ne risk assessment plan asobola okumanya wano tujja funa obuvune, tujja funamu challenges naye already ziba ne plan nti bwe zituukawo tukola bwe tuti ne bwe tuti. Ekirala basobodde okutegeera ekitongole nga UDEL kikola ku biki, lwaki kibikola, engeri ekikolamu emirimu, nabo ne basobola okwebuuza. What are their roles?
Uganda Youth Development Link is determined to strengthen partnership with UN agencies and non-government organizations and government institutions. Uganda Youth Development Link does a tremendous work on providing rehabilitation to youth who are battling with drug abuse, mental health, and other effects. Deborah Nankaja for Top TV Newsnight.
Uganda Parliamentary Press Association mouthpiece Sami Banda has rallied journalists to be game changers on combating climate change and gender-based violence.
The Uganda Parliamentary Press Association, Sam Ibanda Mugabi, has called upon journalists to use their pens and books to make positive changes, especially in the fight against climate change. Mugabi says, as the journalists are changed again, who can and have done accounted for.
But as journalists, we need to question some of these projects because these are projects related to climate change. Let's do stories relating to issues related to climate change. But
is that climate change is not for women alone, but there is need for joint effort to curb the effort of climate change.
they not only affect women, but they also affect men. Sometimes we take it for granted that most of the issues that climate change affects women because almost 70% of the women are the ones in gardens at home. And then men just sit at home and wait for the food that has been grown by the women. But we need to support women as men.
Anna Samla, a senior program officer from Center for Domestic Violence Prevention, says that there is need to communicate the underlying issues that bring or fuel gender-based violence.
You get that real definition. Things of sexual harassment, things of stopping someone from work, things of abusing someone. So that is what? GBV. Then climate change. When there is a change in temperature, this one is a kind of explanatory. Yeah? Long-term shifts in temperatures or in weather as a result of those man-made activities. Are we together?
She says that there is need to bridge a gap between gender-based violence and advocacy to amplify the marginalized Women Manifesto Connect issues.
Strategies. And some of the mitigation strategies will be through what has to come up. Us. But now we know, go deep into knowing what journalists, what we here from the media houses can do to ensure that we break all the other cycles that we saw about the link of GBV and climate change. That will not do it now.
Florence Akol, Program Consultant Institutional Strengthening at Sedovipo, has given clarification on some terms so that as journalists communicate, they use the proper for it not to lose the intended meaning.
Your photos are shared without your consent, when you are using your information, all that falls under there. At the end of the day, this is psychological violence. Then I also wanted to highlight the sexual piece because you're saying forcing someone to hang up the act without consent. We know that with children, a child cannot consent for you to have a sexual act with them, right? Yeah, so I needed to clarify that because when you look at the violence, it's just a whole the idea of having the act with the child, as long as it's a minor, okay? Because a child can explain. So I think.
The ongoing sodomy case between the renowned Pastor Robert Kayanja and the 9 victims who are alleged to have been sexually harassed is delaying due to absenteeism of a defender named Kayanja.
In an attempt to clear his name, Pastor Robert Kayanja pleaded with the Uganda Communications Commission to ban top media supported by Pastor Jackson Senyonga of Makerere Kavule and Kingdom Media of Pastor Dr. David Chiganda, saying that the allegations were not siding with him.
Because our instructions are limited to the dates that were provided, where we guided that some of the dates we had nothing. The ones where we had a recording, we presented.
Pastor Kayanja insists that what the forensic police expert presented before court at Mwangatu were false information. A police forensic expert proved that there were messages, videos, and pictures that were shared to the 9 men via direct phones, while others came via WhatsApp group they shared showing pornographic items intending to seduce the boys.
And we can discuss this. I think the reporter was referring to the audio, that the audio would have been generated by AI. Now, he was saying the same thing, that we are not able to authenticate the audio. Who made it? Even seated here, I don't know who was speaking. So I don't know if it's AI or not. If it's, I don't know who was the other side where speaking. I'm saying the news story that we and that's what we are saying. But he said it was ruled by God.
Pastor Jackson Senyonga, the boss for Top Media, Bishop Dr. David Chiganda, the boss for Christianity Focus Center, and Kingdom TV are equally perturbed by the missing defendant, in this case, Pastor Robert Kayanja, who never values people's time.
Pastor Chiganda and Pastor Senyonga, UCC.
They are complained about. Apologies. Just an observation.
Pastor Robert Kayanja's legal team, led by Solomon Segawa, failed to openly say why their client keeps sharing both private and public meetings. Meanwhile, the legal team from Pastor Jackson Senyonga, including Shaban Sanya, together with the legal team of Ojambo and Ojambo Company Advocates, led by Robert Mugenyi, had asked the complaining side to this particular case, the side of Pastor Kayanja, to explain the case against them. And it's the situation but failed to express themselves fully, but tried to narrate that their client's name is identified in court addings, and the police expert Enoka Kanene claims that some obscene information was shared using his phone number and a WhatsApp group.
Yes, will it be sufficient? We don't want flash.
Maybe, okay, today is
2nd of June.
We could be allowed up to Wednesday next week.
UCC has now directed all parties to submit any additional submissions, all evidence, by June 15th, 2026. The Commission will then review the complaints, responses, transcripts, and supporting materials before issuing its final decision on June 30th.
On this matter, submit on that clip. They will respond afterward. And then the Commission already has this clip. After evaluating all the evidence, we shall make a ruling on it. All right? They can choose to respond to what we say. They may choose to ignore it.
The ruling is expected to determine whether any of the broadcasters breached Uganda's communications and broadcasting standards while covering the ongoing case involving Pastor Robert Kayanja and Juan Rigon Sentongo.
For me, I think even based on the information we've received there, we can make a ruling. But I want everybody to feel that your case has been sufficient and hard. So I want to agree the schedule. In respect to the first complaint by Channel 44, do you want to make any further submissions to the commission?
No, we are not making any further submissions. We are relying on our complaint and the highlights we have made. We don't want to delve into writing submissions. We feel from what is on the record here is enough to make a decision.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Finance, Henry Musasizi, has read the Ugandan budget 2026-27 financial budget today at Kololo in the presence of the President, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and honorable members of Parliament, plus the various invited dignitaries. Different legislators have given their version of the 84 trillion budget.
Yes, we appreciate the challenges, issues of inflation, issues of prices being high, because of the international pressures. But in the meantime, we have to understand that. So the taxes, as read by the minister, will be implemented, and then we assess the situation as we get along. I think what is very important is
to be clear that the budget has been very precise and clear and can drive the transformation of this country into the money economy. As I've seen the priorities of the government, especially the enablers, were very clear. Road and infrastructure, railway, transport, water, airport, very clear to make the cost of production, cost of doing business lower. Electricity was talked about. The social part of it, the human capital, education, the hospitals, health, and others were very clear brought forward. Therefore, the issue has not been money, as we know, one of Uganda. The issue has been how has that money been used to benefit the intended purpose. Last financial year we had a budget of 81 trillion. Yes, you have heard, we have got some glimpse towards transformation, but is that enough, as the President has mentioned? It seems people have been sleeping. But since we are in this era of sand and no more sleep, and all of us leaders wake up, we are going to wake up and ensure that this money that has been put in different sectors do their work as supposed to be.
Therefore, it is very necessary, whether you're a new cabinet minister or you are an old one. Issues emerge, key issues emerge. Knowledge is not static, it is dynamic. So we learn many. And then, of course, it gives us the opportunity to interact with each other.
Money is not wasted, there is service delivery. I hope he really was listening to himself. Because when we in the opposition press and say there's corruption here, we want service delivery and so on, instead we are vilified. A number of our people, our colleagues, are in jail, a number of people are hounded simply because of speaking against bad governance, poor service delivery and so on. So he should be appreciating us for speaking out against these ills. We're the ones that talk about corruption, bad governance, poor service delivery. But what does he do? It is to hound we in the opposition. We've got so many of our colleagues who are in jail. Why? Because they speak out against injustices and bad governance. So if he's serious about bad governance, corruption and so on, they should begin by freeing all those people who are in jail for political reasons.
Nezigogola enguudo, neziteekamu ebigoma, nezigogola amazzi, mbabuulira awo mujja kulaba nga tugendeezezza ku maanyi, naye essaawa eno teri kuzikiza, teri kujja kigere ku muliro. Tegeera pulezidenti kyakugambye nti tetugenda kutereeza ggwanga nga buli omu ayagala bawaane muwaane. So ekirungi ne Honorable Bala mumanyi sitayiro ye teyawukanako lwakuba nti endowooza eyange eri mu ggumite naye nga tewali ensonga yonna gye tugenda kutuleetera yadde okutya yadde okutiisibwatiisibwa.
And the government of Uganda is called upon to sensitize its people on how to access health centers and its importance to manage the highly involved costs of post-care among women.
Jemba Joyce, a midwife at Mulago Specialized Women Hospital, says a month they receive about 40 women with various complications, including overbleeding.
Normally get like 40 years. Yes. On a monthly basis.
Najemba revealed this information during a science coffee held by Health Journalists Union in Uganda, justifying why the government should openly come on board and allow women to access health services earlier than reaching hospitals when they are almost reaching their death. She further narrates how they take care of the patients who come complaining about stomach upsets, and what normally find out surprises them because many finally disclose what they went through before coming to seek for proper treatment.
From head to toe to find out, because you find that these people, when they really done these abortions, they have severe bleeding and they end up becoming pale. You find out that they are not, when you look at their eyes when we are examining, they look pale, white, something like that, meaning that this person overbled. Then after assessing this patient, we are going to do investigations. For example, we are going to take off blood to see how much blood does this person have. For example, here we are talking like the hemoglobin level, how much blood. Then also we look at the infection, because we know very well that someone who has attempted under unsafe abortion, we are likely to have the infections. Because where the abortion was carried, the place was not safe and clean. So we anticipate infection. Shall be able to see the blood users when they come out. Then also, we need to look at the scan. We request for a scan to see exactly when this person was doing that unsafe abortion, did he try to maybe injure the uterus or the womb?
Also tells the audience the type of complications they handle to save women's lives.
Are there. Number one, severe bleeding. When someone overbleeds and nothing has happened in the intervention, definitely we shall expect this person and she has not come to the hospital. So what next? This person is going to be weak, is going to lose life. Then the other complication that we normally get is about the injuries to the uterus, to the womb. So you find that now this intervention, somebody went somewhere and then maybe they used the instruments that are really very...
While interacting with one of the lady who was faced with the problem of miscarriage and overbleeding before, says she still has complications in her stomach because she sought treatment late.
Mbakubiriza obutajjaamu mbuto n'okwekuuma osooka okwekuuma nga tofunye lubuto.
Amagara editor, the legal team advisor at Vista Foundation Uganda, says that there are provisions in the law that allow women to seek information and treatment, but the government has not openly come out to talk about it. That's why many still go and do undercover medication.
The abortion care comes after the abortion has happened. So why are we permitting something that happens after the abortion, but not permitting the abortion? That is a big vacuum in the law, and that's where most advocates or health advocates are coming in, because it doesn't make sense. Even to the healthcare provider, they are at risk because there'll be other negligence, because they won't see a person who is about to lose their life and they wait for the state post-abortion care. But now they can't also give safe abortion because they are fearing being apprehended by the law. because in the penal code, we criminalize the whole terminologies. She used abortion and miscarriage.
She calls upon lawyers and doctors to come out and give proper information, which will save the government from spending much on post-care treatment than seeking treatment in the first place.
You're still watching Newsnight, and please allow me to take you for a short break.
Muzadde yenna weetaaga okuwa omwana wo omusijja omulungi mu byenjigiriza kati kankwanjulire Life Primary School Seeta Bajjo. Lino ly'essomero lyokka gy'ogenda okutwala omwana wo omuto afune ebyenjigiriza nga bya mulembe. Essomero lino lyakakasibwa Ministry ey'ebyenjigiriza n'ebyemizannyo, liri mu kifo kigazi bulungi, lirina computer lab, ekisaawe ky'ebyemizannyo, omugunjulo ebitone by'abaana. Bw'otuleetera omwana wo obeera n'obukakafu abaana bayita bulungi ebigezo, bagunjula bulungi mu mpisa ne mu ddeeni, ebisulo byabwe bya mulembe ddala ate nga balabirirwa bulungi. Life Primary School lisangibwa Seeta Bajjo, kilomita 1.5 okuva ku Jinja Kampala Highway, okyamira ku Kigunga Trading Center. Okwewandiisa kugenda maaso ku ssomero wennyini. Okumanya ebisingawo kuba ku namba za simu zino 0768 59 57 12 oba 0743 35 55 25. Life Primary School Seeta Bajjo, Future Transformers.
Back from the short break, Newsnight is still on. Recently, the President of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, donated 50,000 coffee seedlings to farmers under the Busula NRM Development Group. The seedlings were handed over to the group's chairperson, retired Lieutenant Frederick Senoga, who described them as a valuable opportunity and warned beneficiaries against misusing them.
Recently, the President of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, donated 50,000 coffee seedlings to farmers under the Busula NRM Development Group. The seedlings were handed over to the group's chairman, retired Lieutenant Frederick Senoga, who described them as a valuable opportunity and warned beneficiaries against misusing them. Today, Lieutenant Senoga traveled with fellow leaders to villages in Buyuki and Katikamu sub-county in Luwelo district to inspect how the farmers had planted the coffee seedlings and to assure that they were being put to proper use. He urged farmers to report anyone who diverted or destroyed the seedlings. As part of efforts to fulfill the NRM government's wealth creation agenda, championed by President Museveni, retired Lieutenant Frederick Senoga, accompanied by Katikamu sub-county leaders led by Chairman Richard Chirabira and agriculture officers, visited farmers who received the coffee seedlings to verify whether they had planted them.
okuba nti baagala emmwanyi.
Lieutenant Senoga warned that anyone who failed to plant the seedlings would be held accountable.
Mwaziwa baazifuna baazisimba kubanga twakimanyako nti emabega eri abantu nga tebannamanya mugaso gwa mmwanyi baazifunanga ne zikala ne batazisimba. Ekyo ne kireetera abantu ate abaazisimba kati abantu bagenza okulaba nga bo bavuddeyo abatazisimba nga bakaaba. N'olwekyo tukoze ekintu kino nga ffenna tuli wamu nga tweyawuddemu omulimisa nga wa gavumenti chairman waffe Owero C3 nga naye waali ne tuteetumiikiriza ffekka okujja mu bantu bano ab'ekitundu.
During the tour, they found that most farmers had planted the seedlings. However, many reported challenges caused by the prolonged dry season and appealed to the government to distribute coffee seedlings during rainy seasons to improve survival rates.
Tubifuna lusinga abimu bakolerera bicupuli naddala ebizungu bituyisa bubi nnyo kiteekamu n'obanga ataddemu ate oluyiira.
Agriculture officer Charles Kayanja trained farmers on how to identify and control coffee pests and diseases and advised them on the proper use of pesticides and other management practices.
Togenda kulula abakubeera ekirungo ekyo kya butwa nnyo ku nkuyege. Nolwekyo bw'obanga olikozesezza bulungi ogenda kugoba ebirwadde ebyo.
During the visit, the team met Justin Nakai, who was evicted from Kampala in 2010 and lost all her property. She said the situation forced her to return to her village, where she initially had no shelter and survived under a tree. Despite losing everything in the city, Nakai said she does not regret returning to the village. She encouraged others who have been displaced or faced hardships not to lose hope but to embrace opportunities available in rural areas.
Ebintu ekintu okita ekintu ekisobedde wano kwe kulemera ku kintu n'otokivaako kubanga gavumenti bwe bukeera enkya gavumenti nega nti awo walina okubeerawo oluguudo ne bwe giriba emyaka 35 ng'eno evuddeko neddako era oluguudo olwo lugenda kubeerawo kati akantu kalemye abantu okumanyaako.
Farmers expressed gratitude to President Museveni for providing the 50,000 coffee seedlings, saying the initiative has given them hope for improved livelihoods.
Byonna nabisimba nembibika nobibika likodi yange yali ya bisatu era ne bwe ngenda eri nembibika neteekako n'ebigogo.
Now, leaders of Victoria Senior Secondary School in Sibukunja Sub-County, Buyikwe District, have expressed concern of allegations that some of the members of schools' governing board connived with certain individuals to grab part of the school land.
Leaders of Victoria Senior Secondary School in Sibukunja Sub-County, Buyikwe District, have expressed concern over allegations that some members of the school's governing board combined with certain individuals to grab part of the school land. They say this has hindered development activities at the school, and recently the disputed parties blocked the installation of a perimeter fence, raising fears for the safety of teachers and students. The concerns were raised during a meeting convened by the Buyikwe District Chairperson George Waswa and chaired by Deputy Speaker Petero Chiaze, who also serves as the district councillor representing the sub-county. He began by presenting the complaints that had been brought before the meeting. The family members disputing the land, led by Ntambi, maintained that the land on which the school stands originally belonged to their family. They expressed surprise at how the school acquired ownership of it. Ntambi's elder relative, who previously served as vice chairperson of the school board, defended himself by saying that during his tenure he was unaware that the land occupied by the school belonged to their family. The school head teacher, Soteri Tenywa, informed the meeting about the challenges he has faced, including threats from individuals who accuse him of preventing them from using a road that passes through the school compound. He added that a businessman who purchased part of the land has been bringing construction materials and machinery onto the school premises, disrupting learning activities. Tenywa also presented several development projects that the school has failed to implement because it lacks a land title. Similarly, the chairperson of the school management committee and district woman councillor, Sisi Mukabalonda, highlighted the difficulties arising from the fact that the land obtained through Buganda Land Board is no longer sufficient.
Nti ettaka eryatuweebwa Buganda Land Board eziwerera ddala acres 67 obudde buno eziyingiriddwa era kumpi zisaanyiziddwawo ate bannaffe ab'omu kitundu bennyini nga obudde buno n'okutunda batunze era batuleetedde obulabe bw'amaanyi nnyo essomero lyaffe naddala mu by'okwerinda kwa.
She noted that while some people support dialogue, others remain unconvinced and continue to create obstacles. Representing Buganda Land Board, George Buligwanga urged both parties to negotiate and reach an agreement.
Naye nga bwe tuba tugenze mu mbeera eya bulijjo kumpi tewali kye tuteesaganya nabo. Obudde buno twatandika essomero nga tebaliiwo tuwezeza emyaka 12 amateeka gye twaweza dda emyaka 12 amateeka gye galagira gy'oba omaze mu kitundu newankubadde bo balabanga ffe abeesenza naye ekyamazima tuliwo mu butuufu. Enteesaganya weewaawo ne we ziba zandibaddewo ate tetusobola kusasula bantu nga beesenza bwesenza nga ffe bannannyini kitundu.
He explained that the board cannot issue a land title while a dispute remains unresolved, adding that neither side has yet clearly established its boundary. Speaking at the meeting, Buikwe District Chairperson George Waswa emphasized that Victoria Senior Secondary School is the only government secondary school in the entire sub-county. He said the district leadership is committed to reconciling the two parties and finding a lasting solution to the dispute.
Kawano kusomero waddewoko enkayano waliwo enkayana z'ebibanja naddala ku bantu abaliraanye essomero lino. Tuli wano n'abatuuze abantu abawaayo ettaka lino okutandikako essomero okuva emyaka gy'emabega mu 1980 abatakuuze ba LC1 okulembeza ab'oku disitulikiti savaya baffe ab'ettaka nange n'olukiiko lwange okulabanga ensonga zino tuziwuliriza ate tuzitereeza.
The matter remains unresolved. Both parties have been given 1 week to submit documents to the Chief Administrative Officer showing how they acquired the land, after which further negotiations will take place.
From our sports desk, the Sports Minister, Honorable Peter Ogwang, has called upon security operatives to keep a keen eye on all match displaying venues in the interest of keeping law and order as World Cup kicks off tonight.
Invited by the Nile Breweries who appreciate over the activity in Jinja, and of course I want to say take on the program. But I entirely want to encourage all these football lovers across the country to support their respective teams. It's unfortunate as a country, Uganda, we did not qualify. But fast forward, as Africans, we have our colleagues, fellow countrymen of Africa. That's what they have work. I want to say part of my work is to ensure this project is successful. It's true CAF is sending again another team in 3 days out of the country here to continue with our ongoing checks and balances on our progress in this project. And I want to encourage call upon all sister agencies, particularly the MDAs, which are directly involved in the works of our 2027, that very strongly to pull up our socks to ensure that the August inspection meets our expectations of 80%. Personally, as of yesterday, I was privileged to be taken around the Mandela National Stadium by the UPDF. The one that the work they're doing in terms of ensuring that the project is delivered by 31st December in line with the rights to the power. So we will work with and ensure that the country gets ready by December 31st.
With that, we come to the end of Newsnight, and I thank you very much for watching. It's been me, Wayne Mutesimpera, and I wish you a very good night.